Hello all, let's look at question number 31 from GATE Biotechnology 2017 paper. So the question is match the organisms in column 1 with the characteristics in column 2. So column 1 has Methanococcus, Dunaliella, Sulfolobus and Escherichia, and column 2 has Halophile, Acidophile, Mesophile and Barophile. So they've given different combinations that you have to match the organism with its characteristic. So, extremophiles are organisms that can survive environments that were once thought not to be able to sustain life. These extreme environments include intense heat, highly acidic environments or highly basic environments, extreme pressure, and extreme cold. These different organisms have developed varying ways of adapting to these environments, although it is unlikely that life on Earth originated under such extreme conditions. So, in general, the phylogenetic diversity of extremophiles is high and it's very complex to study. So, let's look at different categories of extremophiles. And so, one of them is acidophiles. Acidophiles or acidophilic organisms are those that thrive under highly acidic conditions, which is usually at pH 2 or below. So these organisms can be found in different branches of the tree of life. They could be either archaea or bacteria and even eukaryotes. So some examples of archaea which are acidophiles are sulfolobes and thermoplasmatales and acidianus briarlii and so on. And in examples of some acidophilic bacteria are acidobacterium, acidothiobacillus, Thiobacillus prosperus, Acidobacter aceti, which is a bacterium that produces acetic acid vinegar from the oxidation of ethanol, and Alicyclobacillus that can contaminate fruit juices. The next category are barophiles. So they're also called piezophiles. So these are organisms which thrive at high pressures, such as deep sea bacteria or archaea. So they're generally found on ocean floors where the pressure often is higher than 380 380 atmospheric pressure or 38 megapascals. And barophile is a bacterium which prefers to grow or exclusively grows at moderately high hydrostatic pressure, such as Challenger Deep in the Marianas Trench, which has a depth of like 10,994 meters below the sea level. So some have also been found in the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, where the maximum pressure is roughly 117 megapascals. And the high pressures experienced by these organisms can cause the normally fluid cell membrane to become waxy and relatively impermeable to nutrients. So that these bacteria, they have like thicker cell membranes. Some examples of barophiles are Photobacterium, Shivanella, Colvella and Motiella, Pseudomonas in Mariana Trench, and filamentous fungi and Actinomycetes and Alteromonas species. And some thermophilic archaea are Pyrococcus and Methanococcus. So these are thermophiles as well, and they are barophilic too. So they are called polyextremophiles because they survive in more than like two extreme conditions like high pressure and high temperatures. And then there are halophiles. These are organisms that thrive in high salt concentrations. So these are a type of extremophile organisms, and the name comes from the Greek word salt loving. So while most halophiles are classified into the archaea domain, there are also bacterial halophiles and some eukaryotes, such as the Dunaliella salina, which is an alga, and there's another fungal species which is Valimia ichthyophaga. So the common habitats for halophiles are soda lakes, thalassohaline, athalassohaline, Dead Sea, carbonate springs, salt lakes, and alkaline soils, and many others favor such conditions that favor the existence of halophiles. So basically, any environment with high levels of salt. So the halophilic alga, Dunaliella salina, that we saw as one of the examples of halophiles. So it's the commercial source of beta carotene and a potential source of glycerol production, and may also be considered as the raw material for biofuel production. So Now, one of the other categories of extremophiles are mesophiles, and these organisms grow best under normal conditions. So, generally, under normal temperatures like 25 to 40 degrees Celsius, and the optimum growth for them is 37 degrees Celsius, which is the body temperature of humans. And most human pathogens are mesophilic in nature. So they can also grow in food like cheese and yogurt, and they are also used in several processes like beer and winemaking and in fermentation. So some examples of mesophiles are Escherichia coli, which is a common bacteria that we use in molecular biology experiments, and Salmonella species, Klebsiella, and Staphylococci, etc. And then there are alkaliphiles. So these are organisms that grow better, or they grow at pH levels of 9 or above. So basically under basic pH conditions. And here are some examples of alkaliphiles. So this is Thiohalospira and Rhodospira. The next category are osmophiles, and these are organisms that grow in environment with a high sugar concentration. Some examples are Saccharomyces roxae and Wallemia sibae. Some organisms are also resistant to high levels of ionizing radiation, most commonly ultraviolet UV radiation, and this also includes some organisms that are capable of resisting nuclear radiation. And here are some examples of radio-resistant organisms. One is Thermococcus, and another is Milnesium. So another category are xerophiles. These are organisms that can grow in extremely desiccating conditions, like dry conditions. So such organisms are found mainly in soil microbes of the Atacama Desert, and here's an example of a xerophile. And thermophiles, like you've probably already heard before. So these are organisms thriving in high temperatures ranging from 41 to 122 degrees Celsius. So many thermophiles are archaea, and the thermophilic eubacteria are amongst the earliest of bacteria. And thermophiles are usually found in geothermal regions, hot springs, and hydrothermal vents where the temperature is very high. And some examples of thermophiles are Arthrobacter, Psychrobacter, Pseudomonas, and Spingomonas species. Thermophiles contain enzymes that can function at high temperatures, and some of these enzymes are also used in molecular biology experiments. For example, the heat stable DNA polymerase used for PCR, they are enzymes extracted from thermophiles. Psychrophiles are organisms capable of growing and reproducing in extremely cold temperatures ranging from minus 20 to 10 degrees Celsius. So these are usually found on alpine and arctic soils at high altitudes, in deep ocean waters, polar ice, glaciers, and snowfields. So examples of psychrophiles are Psychrobacter, and a lot of psychrophiles are also found in food, and some of them are Aeromonas, Alcaligenes, Flavobacterium, Pseudomonas, and Vibrio. Now, coming back to the question, let's try to match the given options. So, Methanococcus is a barophile that survives in high pressure, and Dunaliella is a halophilic alga that survives in high salt conditions, and Sulfolobus is an acidophile, and Escherichia is a mesophile. So, the answer would be option D, and that answers the given question.